Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. Specifically, part 2 of Gotta Pay These Bills. Now, if you watched part 1, you saw how me and my dad and our concrete company goes about pouring our concrete countertops. This part 2 is gonna focus on the polishing and finishing, and depending on how long this particular video is, I'll also try to do the install. But if this video ends up being 15 to 20 minutes, I try to keep the videos around the 20-minute or under range. I know people have stuff to do. They can't you guys probably can't sit around all day, watching us work or shoot guns. So with that being said, if this video is a lot shorter than I expected, then I will include the install. If we get to the 15 or 20 minute mark, then I will do a part 3 on the removal of the old countertops and install of these countertops. Now, there are some things during the install that are not too common, which is why I'm gonna absolutely record that and film that for you guys. Number one, there's a sink in the existing countertops that it used to be the old break room for this office. They moved that downstairs, so they want the sink taken out. They just asked me to cap the piping, so I'm going to show you guys that, as well as we have to add in some additional braces. Specifically on the one piece of countertop, the half of the side doesn't have any cabinetry or anything that's going to be sitting on, so we're going to have to add in some bracing underneath that so the countertop sits nice and flat. So again, we'll see how long this video ends up being. More than likely though, the install is probably going to be a part 3. So if you didn't watch part 1, I'll put a link right here. There you go. You can watch it now. This is going to be how we go about the polishing and cream coating. All right, everybody. So I poured these countertops at the, I think it was middle of last week. We sat here for, I think, 4 days, 3 days, 3 to 4 days, but they've dried, they're cured, they're good and solid. So my dad and I are gonna separate them, flip them, and get them up on our little table so that I can wheel them around. There he is. So what I like to do is take a shovel, jam it under it like that, and then just ever so slightly give it some pressure. Get the surface to break away from the surface of the concrete. That way we can slide it to the edge and flip it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Nice.
A good shirt.
I know your new one.
I got it last year on the reward.
Okay, so we got our 2 pieces of countertop flipped. Now, if you did watch the first video, you remember me talking about how I don't really try to compact the concrete whenever I'm putting it in. I like some cavities. Now, I wasn't trying to get an excessive amount of cavities. It did kind of seem like they were wanting more of a monotone look with a little bit of color contrast. So, but they, as I said then, they did also say to just have fun with them. So trying to keep it a happy medium, trying to keep it pretty natural looking. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our DS301 polisher, which is right here. And that's made by a company called Tool. So we're going to take that with our 50 grit diamond polishing pads and just real quickly buzz over the top. That's going to rip off rip off, all of the kind of weaker cream that's on the top. It's going to really open these up and help to expose more air pockets and cavities. I'm going to do that on both of them. And then I'm going to switch our polisher over to our 200 pads. And then we'll buzz across the top. And what that'll do is it'll smooth out the top rather than continuing to rip it open. So then this way, whenever we cream coat them, we can put our cream coat on top and then scrape it off. And it just makes for the second round of polishing. It makes it go a lot faster. You can spend less time polishing it. So it makes it really nice. Okay, so here are the 50 grit polishing pads. Here are the 200s. We want to swap these off. It's nice. These are just Velcro. These ones pop right back on. Because, well, I guess I should start off by saying that our DS301 polisher works, it's a wet-dry polisher, meaning you can use it wet or dry. However, they do recommend that you use water. You get a cleaner polish, you get a nicer polish, less room for scratches while polishing. So that's what we choose to do. Other people might say otherwise, but to each their own. So because this is electric, we mounted our power supply up top. That way this always stays out of the water. We never have to worry about water getting on that from flying off the polisher. It's kind of a nice way to keep everybody safe. Grab my apron here. Turn the water on. And so whenever I start this up, it is a little bit loud, but you'll see pretty immediately all the weak top from the cream coming off. So already you can kind of see all of the cream that's coming off. We like to call that slurry. But you can also see the color difference in the surface. So it's very important that, for me, sometimes if the customer asks for something a little bit more on the crazy side with, 2 or 3 colors, typically I'll have them come check the countertop out as I'm working through the steps, just to make sure they're liking all the colors. But it's very important to never try to sell your countertop based off this color, because when the concrete's all cured, when it's sealed, it's gonna resemble this color a lot more than this color. So I just wanted to point that out. But like I said, you can already see the difference between the ground down side and the non-ground side. And I also wanted to say that I do 2 passes using the 50s. I'll go this way and then I'll go this way. And then whenever I switch to the 200s, again, I'll go back and forth this way, I'll go long ways, and then I like to hit it on a 45 as well. It just kind of keeps everything as smooth as possible and as even as possible. Okay, top one is done. Now I like to spray off the slurry. That way as I'm working the next piece, that doesn't dry on it. If you let that dry, it doesn't get super hard, but it does harden up a little bit, enough that it will really kind of kill the lifespan of your next set of polishing pads. Don't worry, I'm not splashing the heater. I might on this piece though. Okay, turn that water valve off, flip our polisher over and pull off our 50 pads. Oh boy. That's it. That's how you swap out the pads. It's pretty nice. And in case anybody that's watching this is wondering, again, this DS301 is made by Intertool. And like I said, it is a wet and a dry polisher. They give you this skirt that you can put on, so it keeps all the water, keeps the slurry in, so you have very minimal splashback, which is pretty nice. If this wasn't here, you know, there would be water flying everywhere. Like, this whole shop would be soaked. This is, you pop this cap off and you can put a sweeper attachment right there. So if you're doing a dry polish, the dust for the most part will be contained in here and get sucked out of this hole. So they have it set up so you can use both wet and dry. But like I said, we just prefer to polish using water. And so now, again, this is the 200 grit pads. We're going to go back and forth this way, and then on a 45. And it doesn't take much, but this is the one that you really want to make sure you get the whole surface polished pretty evenly. You know, it's pretty rough to the touch right now. If we were to cream coat it now, we would have a lot of excess cream being held on. It really wouldn't look as nice as it could. Same thing. Once you're done using the 200s, just give it a quick hose down. Now you can see there's not as much slurry that's coming off. Now we did push a lot of it off as we were polishing. However, it is significantly less left whenever, as compared to when we were using the 50s. But you still want to hose them off, kind of clean them up a little bit. Oh boy. Now what I like to do is put the polisher in the sink, done with the apron. I'll push these out of the way. You can see all the slurry and all the water that's just kind of laying on the garage floor. Now, if anybody's going to comment and say you should have put a floor drain in, we built this addition on our shop specifically for the countertops. We didn't put a drain in for mainly two reasons. The first reason being that, you can see all of the concrete slurry that we work up while we're doing this. If you try to push that down a floor drain, it's just going to sit in the trap. It'll clog your drain, and you'll end up just having to take the drain out and unclogging it. We used to do these upstairs where we had a floor drain. It was nice until you had to clean out the drain every other set of countertops. That sucked. So we didn't put a drain in there down here for that reason. And also, if you put a drain in, you need slope going to the drain. And if we put slope on this floor, now it's not flat, that'll end up putting a weird warp in the countertop. So we didn't put a floor drain in because we wanted our countertops to stay as flat as possible while we were pouring them, as well as nobody wanted to clean out a drain anymore. So sweeping out all the slurry and then giving the floor a quick squeegee might seem a little bit excessive, but the amount of time I save not having to clean out a drain, hands down, this way is faster and better. If anybody wants to argue with me, I won't argue, but I'm open to everybody's opinions. However, that is why we did not put a drain in this floor. Okay guys, so we are back up here to cream coat the countertops. And holy cow. Pittsburgh Steelers, you were causing me so much unneeded stress this year. We tie a winless team, have another loss after that, get murdered by the Bengals, and then one of the best teams in the league the Baltimore Ravens, we beat them. Do you guys just not want a good draft pick this year, or do you just want to like cause all of your fans all of this unneeded stress the way you are causing me? All right, anyways, like I said, we're back up here to cream coat these countertops. They dried up a lot. There is hardly any moisture on here, which is really good. That means that the cream coating is going to take in really nice. What happens is if these little pores are left filled with water, when you go to smear your cream coat on, it's going to get really liquidy. You'll get it smoothed out, but all of the water that are in those pores are just going to pull that cream in, and it's not a good way like you think it would be. You might think, hey, don't you want those pores filled the whole way up? Yes and no. When there's an excess amount of water on that cream coat, since it's just cement, it's not going to be as strong as it should be. So what you want to do is you want to have a nice firm cream for your cream coating, and you want to work it into those pores. Now, if you're doing these on buckets or a table or something, you're probably fine. But with these carts that we have made, I always try to lock those wheels in. That way, as we're working this cream coat around, we don't have a countertop moving around on us. So, just spread it all over like that. We got some left over, so that's fine. Might be needing more. Grab our grout float. Now usually we just use our hands and work this in, but yeah, I don't know why I've never thought of using this. Whoever suggested this, thank you. I shouldn't say thank you just yet. The true test is going to be tomorrow whenever I come up and polish them. Okay, so now that we have that on, to give them kind of a natural faded look, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set our float right there. We're gonna come back here to the old Keller wall, grab some charcoal, black. We're gonna grab just a pinch. Sprinkle it around like so. Then take our float. And rub that around. Now what's going to happen is that black color is going to set into some of the pores, but not all of them. So it'll kind of, we're going to polish a lot of it off, but it is going to help give us a little bit more contrast. I mean, even doing that, you can see like these pores are starting to settle. So we have our 200 grit polishing pads on our DS301. The water's turned on. This should go relatively quick, just a couple passes, even pressure the whole way across. You know, you don't want to put a whole lot of down pressure. You just want the weight of the polisher to do the work for you. And now that's done. So this green one right here, this is the 50 grit hand pad. I noticed a little bit of oozage on the bottom here. So what I like to do is I like to take this and hit the underneath. That way, you know, somebody's getting something in the cabinet, they grab onto the countertop, you know. It's a personal pet peeve of mine. Anytime I grab onto a countertop or something and the bottom's all, you know, not nasty, but not smooth. You know, it's rough. It's very annoying to me. So that's something I try to take note of and make sure I don't leave a very rough bottom for anybody that's gonna, you know, grab onto the underside of the countertop for whatever reason. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. We got them We got the tops polished, we got the faces polished, the edges are beveled, our notches are cut out for the door trim. We just need them to dry so that we can give them a final wipe down, get them sealed, and use our buffer to get the top smooth as glass, and then they'll be ready for install. So I'm thinking probably this weekend or beginning of next week, we should be able to do install. So yeah, we'll see you guys then. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. If you liked what you saw, please click the like and subscribe and tell your friends.